Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. And today I'm going to talk about self-care, which was this week's blog. And it was basically how you can introduce self-care into your routine. And I talked in the blog about 10 ways you can do it, and they're all meant to be baby steps. For the simple reason, if you try to go too fast and change too much at once, you're only setting yourself up for failure. So doing one thing at a time will help you, establish a better routine, and it's more likely to last and make that necessary change. So, we need a good basic self-care. And the reason we need to do that is because we need to treat our physical and mental health equally well. And the one way we can actually do that is to have a very good basic self-care routine. It also helps us to set boundaries with ourselves and with other people. And that's not just within an intimate relationship, but everybody, with our children, with our work colleagues, with our friends, with our families. And it also helps us to love and respect ourselves. It's a part of respecting yourself, is to have some sort of basic self-care. I see self-care as being a foundation upon which we build a house. I go always, use that analogy of the house called you. The self-care is about your foundation. So how can you do that? The one thing I would say first off is you have to treat it like a project. Like you do in work, or if you were, painting a room, decorating your house, you decided to do that. It's a project. You need to schedule time to do it. So, as I said, it's baby steps, and you need to schedule time into your routine to do some of these things and to make some of these changes. And these are in no particular order. So if something's particularly bugging you, then, take them and then go back and work on some of the others. So the first one I always say is sleep routine. If you're having difficulties with sleeping, and I've talked about sleep and how you can help yourself before, go and look at that blog. But some of the things would be to make sure that the environment in which you're trying to sleep in is conducive to sleep. Speak to your doctor, check, get yourself checked out. But also by making the room more conducive, so your social media is off, you take time off, appropriately an hour beforehand to turn all that off, to start to wind down. Set a routine like you do for children, like we do for smaller children, in fact. So if that means taking a bath, or taking a shower, doing something that gets you into a routine, starts to get your body relaxing, then that's what you need to be doing to set that routine. And I'm going to go through these very quickly. I'm just going to preference these by saying that, but they're more detail in the blog, and they're linked out to bigger blogs on the different topics. The second one is to reevaluate your priorities. And this will also impact your sleep. If you are doing other people's stuff, if you are taking it on, guess what? You're going to be very stressed out. You are taking on too much. And usually, particularly women, we do take on too much. We take on other people's things. We volunteer ourselves. We step in. Instead of stepping back and saying, okay, am I taking on too much? Am I trying to do too much? Can I reevaluate what I am actually doing? So what I'm talking about is reevaluate your priorities is about your to-do list. It's basically about doing your to-do list. And I have a free up on my resources page. It's part of a bundle, and you can go sign up for it and download it. And that actually takes you through reevaluating your to-do list and helping you, hand things back to people in a step-by-step process. So do check that out. The third thing is to eat well. Now, I'm not talking about diets. I'm not talking about having to give up stuff. I'm talking about knowing what your body needs. So that means going to the GP if you need to, going to the dentist if you need to, looking at what you're eating, and if you need to cut back on something, then do so. Maybe that means if you can't manage 3 meals a day, then you break that up into 5 or 6 smaller meals a day. You look at what you want in that. and you try and eat for what your body, respond to what your body needs, and go from there. The fourth thing, of course, is relaxation. I'm always going to promote meditation of any form, whether that's the 7-Eleven technique, mindfulness, you can do yoga, tai chi, whatever it is that will promote your relaxation, your de-stressing. The whole idea here is to de-stress. And that is vitally important if you want to look after your physical health, never mind your mental health. So, if you want more reasons, I've loads of them. I've talked about stress and how it impacts the body before. And so go to the website, www.DBpsychologyservices.com, and check it out and see how is stress impacting my body. Particularly for a woman, huge impact on your body. And sometimes when we see that, we can go, oh, okay, I need to do something about that. We just need that little bit of a kick. But it's very simple to introduce some sort of a 10-minute breathing session, the 7-Eleven technique. I have a podcast. I show you how to do it. I walk you through it. I have a podcast on mindfulness and how to do it. So do check those out. And they're free. They're there. You can help yourself. It's 10 minutes. Anybody can find 10 minutes in their day. Even a 3-minute breather, which I also talk you through and how to do it on the podcast. You can go to the loo. When you're in the loo, a 3-minute breather every time you go to the loo to start you off. That is a very basic way of starting you off, but the 3-minute breather is also, and I talk about that on the podcast. Journal is number 5. I talk about journaling. I've talked about journaling in more depth before. Journaling has multiple benefits. One, it gets us to brain dump, gets all that stuff out of our head, helps us then relax at night. 2, we're getting all that emotion out of there, all the emotions as well. The first one was about to-do lists and getting our to-do list down in the journal. This is about emotions, getting our emotions, our feelings, working out our anger, working out our frustrations, getting that all down on paper. Again, you're getting it all out of it, and you're also physically pushing it out of the body. Up with some gratitude, and gratitude has been shown to be one of the best ways to boost our mental health. It will sustain you longer and will improve your mental health more rapidly if we do it in a short amount of time than any other technique that we use. Number 6 is to have some fun. We're social creatures. We can't just be on social media, guys. We have to have that physical contact with somebody else. We need to be talking to other people. We need to be talking to our friends. We need to be talking to, if it's our family, if you can if you can be with your family, great. We need physical contact. You need to be out and about. You need social clubs. You need, something like that. But a quick cup of coffee with somebody, or taking time away from your office desk, if your lunch, at least take your lunch, half an hour, take that half an hour, have something to eat, have a chat with somebody you really like in the office, and be with them. That will help you. Okay, you need that time away. You can't just work through your lunch. That's dangerous. Okay, your priorities are very skewed there, and you're setting yourself up for problems if you can't take even your breaks or your lunches. And I've talked about that on the stress blog, and about reevaluating your priorities. Number 7, and it ties in with having fun, would be don't overschedule yourselves. We can all overschedule ourselves, and this is again going back to reevaluate your priorities, getting some fun time in. We have to be realistic. We really do have to be realistic about what we can actually achieve. Always think of a project. If you are somebody that does projects, you'll know that projects will take longer than we actually anticipate them to take. We might say, we set a week for a month for it, we said 6 months for it. It'll always run over. They always run over. So that's being realistic. We allow for that time. We allow, extra time for a project to happen. Well, guess what? We have to allow for extra time in our own lives too. So we cannot do, too much. We'll burn out. We burn out very, very quickly. Again, following on from that, number 8, which is to have a nightly routine of writing down your to-do list. And that's very simply because when you get it out of your head, you write it down, it's a brain dump. It's basically what they call a brain dump. And you put down everything that you think you have to do the next day. And I hope that's going to start reducing. And it helps you then sleep better and relax. Your brain, when you go to sleep, your brain working and it's still ticking over, and all the to-do list is rapidly, it's going around, your head's still on that washing machine mode. And what we want to do is help it to slow down and say to the brain, you don't have to think about this because I have it written down here and we're going to look at it in the morning. So that's the point of doing that nightly to-do list. Also about relaxation, and I said about relaxation, but number 9 is about meditation. Relaxation can be about, playing golf, playing some sort of sport. It can be about, as I said, yoga or Tai Chi, but meditation itself is really, really good. So if you can isolate that, if you can't find other ways to relax, as I said, meditation is the way to go. And as I said, 3-minute breather in the loo, in the loo during office hours, or if you're working for yourself, you have to go to the bathroom. So that's when you can do your 3-minute breather. That is a great way to baby step. That's a baby step of introducing meditation. But meditation, really, you should try and start building up a minimum of, I just said 20 minutes, but if you can do 10 minutes, if you can do, then build it up to 20 and 30 minutes every day. A formal practice is what you need, of taking that time to just calm the mind. Podcasts up there. I have an iTunes podcast and a SoundCloud at the moment. They're both up there on mindfulness and the 7-11 technique. And the last one is to love yourself. We can love other people an awful lot, and we forget to love ourselves. So if we can take some time out every day to, pat ourselves on the back, to remind ourselves of everything that we've accomplished, and to be grateful for what we have in our lives, we can boost our mental health. But we can that also in turn boosts our physical health, because if you're constantly putting yourself down, if you are constantly, thinking you don't deserve or you don't achieve anything, you're wrong. You do. Every single day you do. And we need to believe that. We need to remind ourselves of that, because if we don't, that mental negativity will impact your physical health. It will impact it. We do know that there's a huge impact between the two brains, as they say, the little brain and the big brain, and the gut, this one here, the gut instinct, and what goes on down here in the gut goes on up here, and what goes on up here also goes on up down here, and this all processes out all the chemicals and the hormones and everything else, and it has a massive effect on our mental health and our physical health. So please, remind yourself, and it isn't, boastful. You're not being boastful. You aren't. Please don't think that we're brought up to think that we shouldn't be praising ourselves. We shouldn't, take the compliments and things like that. And a very simple way to do that, in fact, is to just say, if somebody gives you a compliment, say thank you. And that is the only thing you're allowed to say. You're not allowed to say but, or if, oh, I only. You're not allowed to say anything like that. If you want to practice this, you just say, you accept the compliment and you just say thank you. And you have to bite your tongue sometimes when you start doing that. But you deserve it. You deserve that compliment. So, and it is very disrespectful to start explaining away why somebody should. If you think about it that way, you are disrespecting the other person if you don't just simply say thank you. So have a think about that one. So I'm going to leave it there for this week, and the new blog will be out on Monday, of course, and I will be returning to self-care, but it'll be self-care, and I can now say the word Christmas very quietly. Say the word Christmas. I will be talking about that in a few weeks' time, and how we can do a little bit of extra self-care in the run-up to Christmas. So I'll say goodbye, and thank you as always, Deirdre every week and Colette every week. Thank you all very, very much for being regulars, and to everybody else who watches this then in replay. And I will see you all again next Saturday morning, and thank you all for listening. Goodbye.